I may be late to the party on this movie, but how could I not refuse an offer like this? Pretty tempting, I know. What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, bringing you my review for Begin Again, which stars Keira Knightley, Mark Ruffalo, Haley Steinfeld, Adam Levine, and James Corden, and is directed by John Carney. Now, the plot follows Dan, played by Mark Ruffalo, a record label executive who is just down on his luck after getting fired from his job. But upon discovering Greta, played by Keira Knightley, as she was singing in a local bar, he thinks that he has found the next best thing in music. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I am late on this movie, considering that it originally came out 2 months ago. But thanks to participating AMC theaters this weekend, I was able to get a free screening of this movie, which is good considering that this may be my final review for the summer. But even then, I was intrigued by this movie because it had a good-looking cast and it came from the director of Once, for which that movie won the Academy Award for Best Original Song when it came out. So this movie had a little bit to live up to, but did this movie ultimately win me over in the end? Let's run down the whole thing. Now, ever since Keira Knightley has made a switch in her career to more independent films as opposed to the bigger blockbusters she's been in, like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I think that move has worked in her favor, as she was great in this movie as a small-time singer-songwriter who was rough around the edges, yet had a very pleasant voice, as her character really did embody the tone of this movie, especially since she had great chemistry with Mark Ruffalo. Speaking of Mark Ruffalo, he was also great in this movie as this down-on-his-luck record label executive who is also an alcoholic. But you can't just help but love his character, even though he's a douche early on, especially since his character gets even more likable as it progresses. And I really like these kind of roles for Mark Ruffalo, as yes, he did have a career before Marvel's The Avengers, as he did have movies such as 13 Going on 30 and The Kids Are Alright give roles for him. And I just like that he's playing a role once again that's reminiscent of his past. Another cast member who was really good here was Adam Levine of Maroon 5 fame, as yes, he is a very talented musical artist, but he really was utilized well here as the boyfriend of Keira Knightley's character who lets fame and attention get over his head and eventually does push her character away. And it really made his character feel very distinct as his role was going to be utilized in the rest of the film, and to that I really do appreciate. Other cast members here include Haley Steinfeld, who I loved in the remake of True Grit, as Ruffalo's character's daughter, Catherine Keener as the ex-wife of Ruffalo, James Corden as Knightley's best friend, and even musical artists Mos Def and CeeLo Green make appearances here. And even if the supporting characters did have smaller roles here, I really do think they added more of a sense of diversity and depth to the rest of the cast, as overall, this is one of the most well-crafted and thoughtful casts I've seen all year in any movie. The plot here may seem like standard fare to many, as there have been some who have compared this to Once already, but I think this movie has a couple touch-ups that make it stand on its own quite well, especially within the first half hour, as that is structured like how the title sounds, Begin Again, with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo's characters getting their own backstories told, and eventually come together in how both of these characters meet up in that bar. And it really does make this movie start off on the right note, as the rest of this movie is really funny along with the music. And yeah, this movie is funny, surprisingly so, due in part to Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo having wonderful chemistry on screen, and the supporting characters once again supplying their own humorous anecdotes from time to time. And it really makes this movie feel very lighthearted and entertaining to watch all the way through, especially when the music is catered into all of this, as let me just say, the music is phenomenal here. So much so that I had to listen to the soundtrack once I finished watching the movie. It's really that good, and I think it really stands up there with other great movie soundtracks. So the music is literally half of this movie, but was there anything else that could ruin this movie for me? Not really, as the issues I have with this movie are more of creative decisions done to the plot, as I did like the ending to this movie, don't get me wrong, but I felt that maybe if it had gone in a different direction, I would have appreciated it more, but I wasn't dissatisfied with the ending nonetheless. Also, the characters here could have had way more screen time than needed, as yes, I did say that some characters had more time than others, but it was just a testament to how invested I was with this movie, as it ran at a pretty brisk 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I wanted to see more, and that's how much I was really into this movie. All of this really does come down to a unique type of movie, and catering everything that I just said before, it really is a special type of independent movie, and I do like these kind of films. And especially if you're a music lover such as I am, then this is definitely a movie one should check out. But even if you're not into that kind of thing, or you're just into romantic dramedies in general, this is one to definitely check out. My final thoughts on Begin Again are that the plot may have been simple and there were little creative decisions that I would have tweaked myself. This is still a very enjoyable movie on its own merits as a musical film and as a romantic dramedy, as coupled with the great cast, the phenomenal soundtrack with its indie rock type of classical feel, and just how funny this movie was overall. Anyone who is in for a good time and a feel-good type of movie will really be in for a treat. And I'm not just saying this because I got a free screening out of it, as I would have well paid full price had I seen this movie earlier. But it's a good thing I saw this now when I could, because this is one I definitely recommend. My final verdict for Begin Again is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Begin Again, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.